Ethiopia scores a major diplomatic win at the 2025 G20 summit. And nuclear project hailed as key to Ethiopia's energy future. A warm welcome to EBC World, the voice of Pan-Africanism. It's now 9 p.m. here in Addis Ababa. I'm Binyam Alamayo with the rest of the studio crew and the day's duty editor bringing you the latest. Please stick around. Deputy Prime Minister Tamasgen Turuna highlighted the nation's strong reform momentum, expanded access to digital financial services, accentuating the pivotal role of Digital Ethiopia 2025 in laying the foundation for the new Digital Ethiopia 2030 strategy. Tamasgen also praised the National Digital ID, FIDA, and eGov initiatives, now delivering hundreds of services online for boosting transparency and efficiency. Ethiopia today unveiled its National Digital Payment Strategy 2026-2030 alongside a new instant payment system, marking a major leap in the country's push toward fully digital cash-light economy. The launch took place at the second Ethiopia Digital Payment Conference in Addis Ababa, where policymakers, regulators, banks, innovators, and development partners gathered to chart a coordinated path for a modern, trusted, and interoperable financial ecosystem. National Bank of Ethiopia Governor Eyob Takaling echoed this optimism, emphasizing Ethiopia's rapid adoption of digital payments, according to our staff reporter Ashenafi Ndale. As the news continues, Ethiopia is being hailed as the driving force behind a new era of African storytelling. Following a week of high-level summits in Addis Ababa, the call for a united continental voice is louder than ever. From the IGAD Media Awards to the African Excellence Conference, Addis Ababa became the command center for Africa's initiative this week. Policymakers and media titans gathered to celebrate Ethiopia's unique legacy as the continent's uncolonized symbol of resilience. The message was urgent. Africa must reduce reliance on foreign news agencies. Speaking, including TV BRICS President Ayanda Holo, warned that without self-sufficiency, the continent faces the threat of recolonization. The solution proposed is a cohesive homegrown media front capable of shaping global perceptions, with Ethiopia standing firmly at the vanguard. Ladies and gentlemen, you're tuned to EBC World, coming to you from Addis Ababa. Ethiopia has gained a decisive diplomatic victory following the 2025 G20 summit. Defend Ethiopia Europe says Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed's presence on the world stage has effectively countered attempts to isolate the nation. From high-stakes bilateral meetings to the upcoming COP32, Ethiopia is reasserting its global influence. Shagawe Matau breaks down the impact. Take a look.
For the first time, the G20 summit convened on African soil recently as South Africa hosted the 2025 gathering of world leaders. Ethiopia's participation in the historic meeting opened the door to wide-ranging diplomatic engagements, reflecting the country's growing influence on the global stage. Speaking to EBC World at this dialogue, Ephraim Zoudu, Belgium coordinator of Defend Ethiopia Europe, said Ethiopia's presence at the summit marked a major diplomatic victory. He noted that the platform allowed Ethiopia to clarify its positions, engage key political powers, and push back against efforts to isolate the nation politically, economically, and diplomatically.
It was a major success and engagement and extensive diplomatic engagement that Ethiopia has used this platform to clarify its position, to engage global powers and pursue diplomatic engagements. And this was extensive. This was successful because one of the areas our enemies work is to isolate Ethiopia diplomatically, economically, and politically.
Right.
So we have to fight this as a country, and the engagement and the efforts that was made by the Prime Minister was successful in engaging major global powers.
The coordinator said Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed's bilateral meetings with global and regional leaders showcased Ethiopia's active diplomacy, advancing shared interests while clarifying the country's stance on key national issues, especially access to the sea amid ongoing misinformation.
Bilateral interests of engagements were discussed, for example, in tackling climate change, in Ethiopia's requirement for support in tackling poverty, this kind of bilateral engagements like tackling climate change, global security issues, and so on. These are major areas of mutual interest. At the same time, Ethiopia has also its own national interest, especially with recent issues of access to the sea. Right. So Ethiopia, and this has been misinterpreted, a misinformation campaign has been also launched toward this, and Ethiopia has to clarify its position to major global powers that this is Ethiopia's legitimate request and it's an Ethiopia's national interest and national security issue. And this has been conducted through major extensive diplomatic engagement at the highest level of major global powers.
With regard to hosting COP32, Ephraim Zewdu highlighted that Ethiopia's selection reflects the country's strong commitment to tackling climate change. He noted that the summit will provide Ethiopia with a platform not only to showcase its active diplomatic engagement, but also to demonstrate its concrete efforts and initiatives in addressing climate challenges.
Ethiopia hosting COP32 as a host country shows that Africa, Ethiopia, though we have challenges, we can play a global role, and we have a role to play. And Ethiopia is the perfect country to demonstrate this. As an African country, a country that has been for centuries supporting Pan-Africanism, being a voice of Africa, being a voice of the global South, and striving to overcome poverty. Ethiopia is a country that is perfectly selected for COP32.
Ethiopia's active presence on the global stage signals a new chapter in its international diplomacy, strengthening partnerships and asserting its national priorities. With COP32 on the horizon, the country is set to further showcase its commitment to climate action while continuing to expand its global influence.
Finally, Ethiopia officially launched the nuclear power program, declaring it essential for the nation's survival and development. Foreign Minister Gedeon Timotheos joined IAEA chiefs to kick off the initiative, describing nuclear energy as the indispensable foundation for meeting both current needs and future ambitions. The move aims to solve Ethiopia's energy puzzle once and for all, and with backing from a host of stakeholders, including the International Atomic Energy Agency. Jerusalem Besaha brings us up to speed.
The gathering brought together high-ranking officials including Foreign Affairs Minister Gedeon Timotheos, Ethiopian Nuclear Energy Commissioner Sandokan Debebe, and Mikhail Chudakov, Deputy Director General and Head of the Department of Nuclear Energy at the International Atomic Energy Agency, along with other senior government officials and stakeholders. It was learned that the construction of a mega nuclear power plant, which is part of the $30 billion USD mega development initiatives recently announced by Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, is aimed at strengthening Ethiopia's energy security and supporting industrial transformation. According to Gedeon, the establishment of a nuclear power plant is a national flagship project that will serve as a pillar for Ethiopia to meet both its current and future energy demands.
This is one of the national flagship projects that could be considered as the pillar of the Ethiopia we want to see. The Ethiopia we want to see and pass on to the next generation is a country where every household has access to clean, affordable, and reliable sources of electricity. The Ethiopia we want to see is a country where industries, data centers, trains, and cars are powered by electricity generated from renewable and green sources of energy, such as nuclear power.
The minister underscored the imperative of modernizing Ethiopia's energy infrastructure, particularly in the context of emerging technologies such as artificial intelligence and quantum computing, which demand substantial electricity supplies. Gedeon pointed out that the electricity requirements for data centers are projected to double by 2030, even as the environmental impacts of fossil fuels become increasingly pronounced.
In this context, nuclear technology as a source of power is gaining a lot of traction. As a dependable, long-term, and clean source of energy, nuclear power plants are becoming the logical choice for many countries. Ethiopia is a country with a rapidly growing economy and population. Our demographic and economic growth require long-term and strategic investments to ensure that we have the infrastructure in place to meet our energy needs. If we make the right investments today, our future will be bright. With affordable, clean, and abundant electricity, we could turbocharge the process of urbanization and industrialization.
Ethiopian Nuclear Energy Commissioner Sandokan Debebe, on his part, further pointed out that Ethiopia is aligning its national framework with International Atomic Energy Agency standards and maintaining strict adherence to all relevant international treaties and obligations.
Ethiopia remains fully committed to exclusively peaceful use of nuclear technology. With the establishment of Ethiopian Nuclear Energy Commission, supported by clear legal mandate and robust institutional structure, we are aligning our national framework with the IAEA milestones, approaching and reinforcing our adherence to all relevant international treaties and obligations. Our partnership with the IAEA stands at the center of this journey.
The Ethiopian Nuclear Energy Commission was established in October 2025 to oversee the peaceful use of nuclear technology in the country.
And now a quick recap of the major stories making headlines. Ethiopia scores a major diplomatic win at the 2025 G20 summit. And nuclear project hailed as key to Ethiopia's energy future. That was me, Binyam Alemayo, bringing you the latest from Addis Ababa, Africa's diplomatic capital. Thanks for tuning in. Take care, stay, and goodbye.